Hey, consider this. Every single day, you make hundreds of decisions. What should I wear today? Is that leftover pizza still good to eat? Should I believe that amazing story my friend just told me? To answer these questions, you use something incredibly powerful, something that's built into the very fabric of how we think. It's called logic. Logic isn't some dusty old subject reserved for philosophers in tweed jackets. It's the science of thinking clearly. It's the set of rules we use to figure things out, to go from what we know to what we don't know, and to make sense of the world. Think of logical reasoning as your brain's very own superhero utility belt. It helps you separate fact from fiction, spot a weak argument from a mile away, and build your own strong, persuasive points. When you decide not to touch a hot stove because you know heat causes burns, that's logic. When you figure out that you need to leave for the bus stop 10 minutes early because there's construction on your street, that's logic too. We live in an age of information overload. We're constantly bombarded with news, advertisements, social media posts, and opinions, all competing for our attention and belief. Without a good grasp of logic, it's easy to get fooled or misled. People might try to sell you something you don't need, convince you of an idea that isn't true, or win an argument with a clever but flawed trick. Logical reasoning is your shield. So what exactly is an argument? It's not just two people shouting at each other. In the world of logic, an argument is a structured way of presenting a case. It's made of a few key parts, kind of like how a sandwich is made of bread and fillings. The bread slices that hold everything together are called premises. A premise is a statement or a piece of evidence that is offered as a reason to believe something. It's the starting point, the because part of your reasoning. For example, if you say, "The sky is full of dark clouds," that's a premise. It's a fact you're presenting to support a later point. The filling of our argument sandwich is the conclusion. The conclusion is the main point you are trying to prove. It's the therefore part of your reasoning. So if your premise is, "The sky is full of dark clouds," your conclusion might be, "Therefore, it is probably going to rain soon." You see how that works? The premise, "dark clouds," provides a reason to believe the conclusion, "it's going to rain." An argument is simply the combination of one or more premises leading to a conclusion. It's a journey from evidence to a final claim. Now, there's a hidden ingredient in many arguments, something we don't always say out loud. These are called assumptions. An assumption is a premise that is taken for granted and left unstated. In our rain example, there's a hidden assumption that dark clouds are a reliable indicator of rain. If someone argues, "That movie made a lot of money, so it must be a great film," they are assuming that box office success equals artistic quality. Is that always true? Probably not. Spotting these hidden assumptions is a key skill for a pro thinker. Let's look at another one. Premise 1, all dogs are mammals. Premise 2, Fido is a dog. Conclusion, therefore, Fido is a mammal. This is a classic, straightforward argument. All right, now that we know what arguments are made of, let's explore how we build them. There are 3 main styles of reasoning, and you probably use them all the time without even realizing it. Think of them as 3 different paths to get to your conclusion. First up is the detective of the group, deductive reasoning. Deduction starts with a general rule or principle and applies it to a specific case to reach a guaranteed conclusion. If the starting rules, the premises, are true, the conclusion must be true. There's no uncertainty about it. It's like a mathematical proof. Here's a simple example of deduction. Premise 1, all planets in our solar system orbit the sun. Premise 2, Earth is a planet in our solar system. Conclusion, therefore, Earth orbits the sun. See? If the first 2 statements are true, the conclusion isn't just likely, it's absolutely certain. Deduction gives us certainty, moving from the general to the specific. It's a very powerful tool, but it depends entirely on the truth of its starting premises. If your general rule is wrong, your conclusion will be worthless, even if your logic is perfect. Next, we have the scientist of the group, inductive reasoning. Induction is the opposite of deduction. It starts with specific observations and uses them to build up to a broader, general conclusion. This is the heart of the scientific method. You see something happen over and over and you form a general theory about it. For instance, observation 1, the sun rose this morning. Observation 2, the sun rose yesterday. Observation 3, the sun has risen every day of my life. Conclusion, therefore the sun will probably rise tomorrow. Notice the word probably. Inductive conclusions are about probability, not certainty. Finally, we have the medical diagnostician of the group, abductive reasoning. This one might be new to you, but you use it all the time. Abduction is about making the best, most likely explanation for an observation. It's an educated guess. Imagine you walk into your kitchen and see a plate on the floor with cookie crumbs on it, and your dog is hiding under the table looking guilty. You don't know for sure what happened, but the best explanation is that the dog knocked the plate over to eat the cookies. That's abductive reasoning. You take the available evidence and form the most plausible conclusion. It's the inference to the best explanation. So you've got an argument. How can you tell if it's a good one? In logic, we have two key terms for this: validity and soundness. These words have very specific meanings. An argument is valid if its structure is correct. This means that if the premises were true, the conclusion would have to be true. Validity is all about the logical connection, not about the actual truth of the statements. You can have a valid argument with completely false premises. For example, premise 1, all cats can fly. Premise 2, my pet rock is a cat. Conclusion, therefore my pet rock can fly. This argument is perfectly valid. The structure is flawless. The conclusion follows logically from the premises. But wait, you say, pet rocks can't fly. And that brings us to soundness. A sound argument is one that is both valid, it has a good structure, and has all true premises. Our flying pet rock argument is valid, but it is not sound because the premises are false. A sound argument is the gold standard. It's an argument you can trust because its structure is solid and it's built on a foundation of truth. Now, let's talk about the dark side, logical fallacies. A fallacy is a common error in reasoning that makes an argument invalid or unsound. They are like tricks or illusions of thought, and they can be very persuasive if you don't know how to spot them. One of the most common is the ad hominem fallacy, which is Latin for to the person. This is when someone attacks the person making an argument instead of the argument itself. For example, you can't trust Dr. Smith's climate research because she dresses funny. The way someone dresses has nothing to do with the quality of their research. It's a distraction, not a real argument. Another sneaky one is the straw man fallacy. This happens when you misrepresent someone's argument to make it easier to attack. If someone says, I think we should spend more on education, and you reply, so you want to leave our country defenseless by taking all the money from the military? You've just built a straw man. You distorted their original reasonable position into something extreme and easy to knock down. Spotting fallacies is a critical skill. It helps you avoid being manipulated and allows you to keep conversations focused on the actual issues at hand, leading to more productive and honest debates. Sometimes, arguments, especially complex ones, can feel like a tangled mess of spaghetti. It's hard to see where one idea starts and another ends. That's where a fantastic tool called argument mapping comes in. An argument map is a visual diagram of an argument's structure. It's like a flowchart for reasoning. You put the main conclusion at the top, and then you draw boxes for each premise underneath it, using lines and arrows to show how they support the conclusion. You can even add boxes for counter-arguments or refutations. It makes the entire logical flow crystal clear. Using an argument map forces you to identify the premises, the conclusion, and any hidden assumptions. It lays everything out in the open. This makes it much easier to see the strengths and weaknesses of an argument. Is a premise unsupported by evidence? Is there a logical leap somewhere? The map will show you exactly where the argument breaks down. It's a powerful way to analyze other people's reasoning and to check your own. Before writing an essay or preparing for a debate, sketching out an argument map can help you organize your thoughts and build a rock-solid case. It turns a mess of words into a clear, logical structure. And where is logic more important than in the legal system? The law is, at its core, a system of applied logic. Lawyers and judges build arguments constantly. Legal reasoning in places like the United States generally relies on a few key types. There's rule-based reasoning, where a legal rule is applied to a set of facts. This is very deductive. There's reasoning by analogy, where you argue that the current case is similar to a past case, a precedent, so it should have the same outcome. There's also policy-based reasoning, which considers the broader social goals that a ruling might achieve. A lawyer presents premises, like evidence, testimony, and legal statutes, to support a conclusion such as, "My client is not guilty." The opposing lawyer tries to show that the argument is unsound, or that a different conclusion is more logical. A judge's job is to be the ultimate logical referee, weighing the arguments to reach a just decision. It shows how critical, clear, structured thinking is when the stakes are incredibly high. The principles of logic we've been talking about aren't just for fun. They are the bedrock of our justice system. Consider that.